Celeste. Hey, congratulations on your upcoming comic book of My Little Pony.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
So,
Um,
so I mean, tell us how did your life career path and ended you up here at this comic book?
it's a good question. I'll do the short version of this story. I grew up always writing. I never really saw myself represented on screen as, someone who's figuring out her sexuality and kind of figured I was queer and didn't really know how to find stories about other queer women driving stories on screen. I started writing. I wrote a lot of fan fiction growing up and, went to college in Canada for screenwriting where I really wanted to write television, and I worked a bunch of jobs as a production assistant in television until I found myself in the writer's room of Degrassi. And that show was exactly what I wanted to write. It was all these characters who have voices that I'd never seen on screen, and it was such a gift of a show to write on. And I wrote for a few other TV shows and then moved to LA, which is, was a big move. I didn't know anyone here, but I was writing a few comic scripts and got in touch with the people at IDW and met my fantastic editor, Megan Brown, and got the chance to pitch for My Little Pony, which is the most incredible. I feel so lucky. It's such an amazing franchise, just like full of heart. And yeah, that's the whole journey. I feel like maybe, I missed out some points, but basically.
So, are you a big My Little Pony fan before you jumped on board this comic?
I didn't really know the franchise very well. I knew it had a loyal fan following. I'd heard some of the songs before, but I really delved into it before kind of coming up with ideas for what some of the comics could be, and really fell in love with it. I mean, I loved the characters. I think the songs are like very, very catchy. I would have them like stuck in my head. But really, it's just a show full of heart where friendships are, the most important thing. And I think, especially this past year, it's meant so much to me. It's been such a tough year for everyone. And kind of like really getting to the heart of this series and kind of, it's kind of what I needed this year. So it's really helped me. And I do love it now.
That's excellent. So tell us about the story that you came up with. Basically, with My Little Pony and a kraken.
And a kraken. I know. Well, I love Celestia and Luna, and they were two characters who I was like so interested. I wanted to know about their childhood, and kind of that's what got my mind rolling. And I kind of wanted to tear down some of Celestia's barriers that she places around herself. We usually see her as this like composed ruler who's there to offer advice, but I kind of wondered, what is her vulnerability? What event would bring out, this emotional response that basically, made her kind of like put her in this vulnerable space where, we see her react kind of emotionally instead of rationally to a lot of situations, to a situation. And I think this was, I love krakens. But second, I thought, what fun would it be to see like Luna and Celestia kind of go underwater and kind of confront this childhood trauma that has weighed on Celestia all these years, and kind of see her in this state where, she really is afraid for the first time. I like, she's afraid and acting, a little irrationally at times because she's so afraid. And to see also Luna take the role of the protector in some ways. So that was really exciting for me.
That is pretty exciting. is every comic book issue? I'm not as you can tell, I'm not the audience of My Little Pony. I'm not a brony or that kind of stuff. But are
Right.
are every comic issue sort of there's like a thematic like lesson for My Little Pony?
Usually, yeah, and that's what's so special about it too. There's usually kind of a lesson learned at the end that kind of is a universal message, but feels very specific in each issue and each episode of the show because it's based around the specific characters who are also nuanced. Yeah, but hopefully this lesson resonates with other people. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it was, I think that theme is something that, really came out and, formed the heart of the issue. And I wanted to bring it out in different ways in all of the characters.
Now, how different is comic writing from your television background writing that you had before? Did you have to basically like switch hats and switch minds?
A little bit. So there are similarities. I think some of the similarities are that they're both very visual mediums. So in both, you're really trying to tell your story in the most visually intriguing way possible. So, I mean, a lot of those lessons are the same, and those are things I learned while writing on Degrassi, but it's, it's like, it's so much fun to see characters like running away from a giant, like swarm of zombies. It's interesting to have a conversation about like relationships while they're running away from zombies. It's more interesting to see that than two characters just sitting against a still background, kind of having the same conversation. So in those ways, you're always trying to like get out the most interesting elements in each panel or scene. So like, that's why underwater, I was like, oh, that's so cool to me. Like, I love bringing in different elements there. But in terms of, in terms of writing between different formats, there are different rules. And I think what's really fun is that in comics, you have a bit more control when it comes to framing and blocking. So in TV, you write a TV script and then you hand it over to the director of that episode, and they're the one on set kind of placing the actors, deciding where they'll stand in scenes. But in comics, it's really, the writer has a lot more control there, and you work with the illustrator and the artists to kind of decide where each character's standing. And so sometimes I can write in a comic script, I want this character standing in the foreground, I want this character in the background. And in that way, it's like a different kind of storytelling. It's a different hat that you have to put on. And it took me some getting used to, but it is something that you have to kind of remember when you switch back and forth. And sometimes I forget, and I'm like putting in directions in a script and they're like, no, that's not for you. That's not your job. But yeah, so those are the big differences, I'd say.
That's amazing. So in its own way, it's your more hands-on approach. You're almost like a director.
In a way, I don't want to take away from the artists as well. It's definitely a team effort, just like in television. But yeah, I do feel it's a smaller team working in comics. There are so many people on set who kind of like work together to put out this product, and that's amazing. And that's some of the magic of TV, is that you kind of work in concert. And in comics, it is the same. You work, but it's a smaller team. So I think you have a bit more control just because of that, and there's more back and forth. So that's really cool.
So when you had a chance to see this upcoming final product, was it all you imagined it to be?
I was blown away. I think for sure I had to take a step back when I first saw it, because there were tears. I was really excited to see it brought to life, to see this character that I created, the Kraken, brought to life. I think it was very emotional. I think the artist did such a phenomenal job of, like delving into those emotional moments. And really in comics, because it's animated, you kind of have to enhance some of the emotions. And like there were decisions made, like that were definitely not my doing. But you know, there's a scene where Celeste is upset, and the artist took that and like put her in bed with tissues around, and that's definitely not something that I came up with, but I think we worked together to make that happen. And just seeing all those choices made brought it to life and made it, it was a very emotional experience. I'm so proud of it. So excited for people to see it.
Tell us the truth. Did you try to sketch a My Little Pony on your spare time?
I mean, listen, I didn't, because I don't think it would go well. That's not my strength. I feel like I would just be doing a disservice to everyone, especially the people who had to like see my drawing in person. I wish I had those skills. Like, I think it's incredible to the people, to the artists, like to the creators who are able to write and draw their own characters. I think that it's a phenomenal talent. I would not even try. I respect those characters too much to even attempt it. I wish I could. If I could, I would attempt it. But.
I was just trying to test out to see what kind of artistic talents you have, but
and now you're like, no, she has none.
No, you are very talented. You publish something in the comic book world, and you publish something in the television world. But because you're so multi-talented in multi-mediums, what is the satisfaction the same when you see something, you know, in print compared to something visually on like television?
For me personally, yes. I think, you know, you work so hard at trying to create this product that's personal, that kind of elicits like a specific emotional response from others. And I think for me, it's actually the most rewarding part is it's not different between film or TV and comics, but it is like when you show those products to people you care about and you see them react to it. I think that's where what really gets me. So, you know, like an episode of TV or a comic, if I'm showing it to people I care about, my friends and family, I think for me, it's the same response, but that's always the most satisfying.
Excellent. Now, this isn't your first venture into comics, is it? Or it is?
It's not my first. I've written scripts in the past for a series called Rivers of London for Titan Comics. And that was actually an opportunity that came to me through a mentor of mine, Andrew Cartmel, who is a former showrunner of Doctor Who and has worked in the comics, you know, in comics for a very long time. And I didn't know comics at the time, so it was kind of like my school. I would write kind of scripts for comics at the backs of issues. And so that was kind of my first foray into comics, but this is definitely my first issue, my first full issue.
So can you call yourself a comic book fan now because you have some comics under your belt?
I mean, I have been a fan of comics for a very long time, but yes, for sure. I hope I can call myself. Yeah, I've been reading comics since I was a little kid. Like it's my parents had to like take me to the comic book store so I could get like the new issue of Captain Marvel and Supergirl, which are characters I loved. So I've always been a comic fan. So this is kind of a dream come true for me. But yeah, am I a bigger comic book fan? Maybe. I mean, there's so much work that goes into them. I like am inspired by the artists. I'm inspired by everyone who works in comics because it's really you know, it's a massive undertaking. Each comic is such a team effort and full of so much heart. And yeah, so maybe I'm a bigger fan than I was before.
So riddle me this. Have you been to a Comic-Con before?
You know what? I have gone to cons my whole life, but for the first time ever, I was able to go to Comic-Con San Diego 2 years ago, and it was the most incredible experience. I've always dreamed of going, but I was able to because I moved to LA 2 years ago, and it was more than I ever dreamed it could be. It was overwhelming. I mean, like all the incredible cosplayers, all of the fan art you can buy. I was overwhelmed. I had to have someone take my wallet away from me so I wouldn't be purchasing too many action figures and too much fan art. But yeah, it's like the event I've looked forward to my whole life. And I hope that, we'll be able to go again when the world opens up and it's safe to do so. Because I miss that like energy, which there's nothing like it in the world.
I think the bigger question is not whether you're going to go to a Comic-Con, but because you got a My Little Pony under your belt, are you going to go to a My Little Pony convention someday?
You know what? I know they have them. I have never thought about that. I mean, maybe I have other friends who write for the My Little Pony comics. Maybe we'll go. It's totally possible. I mean, I love the characters in the comics. I'm a fan of the show, so would love to meet some of the people who are part of the show as well. I think that would be really cool, and to hear them talk. We'll see. I mean, maybe. Are you going to be there? Are you going to get into My Little Pony now? Will I see you there?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it depends on whether you come up with more issues, and I'll have to follow your work, and
we'll have to follow up with each other.
Yeah,
I see.
Meet you in person. I'll be like, you know what? I love Celeste's story work and so on, right?
Oh man, that's very kind. Yeah, look, we're both in California. It might happen. We'll keep in touch about it. We'll check in, but it'd be fun, I think.
But speaking of, are you planning to do more in this genre, especially with My Little Pony?
In terms of My Little Pony, I don't know. So I think there's some changes coming up. I think it's exciting. I really hope I get the opportunity to. I would love to. I think, there are new shows that have been announced. So we'll see. I would love to. So I really hope so. There are no plans for it yet, but I have some other comics coming up. So we'll see. I can't announce them yet, but hopefully I'll be able to announce them soon. But I hope to continue working in the My Little Pony space, in the comic space. They're worlds that I've always dreamt of playing in. So it's like a dream come true to be able to do it.
So you can't tell us about any more comic announcements, but could you at least tell us whether you're still writing TV scripts and so on?
Yeah, TV is my what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. So I continue writing TV scripts. I'm writing one that I'm really excited about right now. That's kind of about fandom. That's very personal, and I am hoping to pitch that with my manager soon. And then I have a short film that I wrote that I wasn't able to film because of COVID shutdowns, but hopefully that's also in the works. But yeah, I love TV. I hope to work on shows coming up. It's been kind of a weird year with everything, but I think TV production's like starting up again. So I'm looking forward to getting back into a writer's room.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to wrap it up with building on what you actually said, because obviously the past 12, 13 months, the world has gone a little bit crazy, but
yeah, it's been difficult.
But
difficult for everyone.
But I would like to know is, how did you stay sane and creative during this entire time?
I mean, that's a good question. I would love to hear other people's answers, because I'm not sure that I have the best answer. I try to watch shows that brought me a lot of comfort, to Zoom with people. A lot of my friends and family are in Canada, so I haven't been able to see them for a very long time. But I set like deadlines for myself to reach, and I think deadlines help me be a lot more creative, because I'm like, I know someone is gonna read it. I know I'm gonna send it to someone. So that's brought out some creativity. Go on walks. It's been I've been really lucky to be able to, you know, stay at home. I know not everyone has the privilege that I do. So I try to just stay in touch with people virtually. And, you know, I don't have a great answer because it's been difficult, I think, but, you know, things are getting better here in LA and in California. And so I'm hopeful that, you know, things will open up again, and hopefully I'll be more creative as they do. But yeah, it's kind of been, writing has kind of like saved me this year, just being able to escape through writing.
Most excellent. Well, I'm optimistic that everything's going to open this year. So,
Yeah.
And who knows? You and I will get to meet, whether at a Comic-Con or a My Little Pony Con. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? But I look forward to meeting in person when it does happen. Yeah, this has been so much fun. It was so nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
It is terrific. You're a great conversationalist. Thank you very much, Celeste. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.